Good morning, everybody. How's everybody today? I'm telling you this, I think Facebook is really trying to tell me something. This is, I think, the third week in a row, maybe the fourth, where it is not really liking the connecting Zoom. Like I have done it, I did it like 3 different times this morning and I was still having issues. So I just gave up. I waved the white flag and gave up, and I'm just doing this Facebook Live through Facebook. So this might just be the way I have to do it from now on, so I don't get frustrated, because I don't know about you guys, but it becomes super frustrating. And just like my phone here, right? So, because I like to try and find your comments, because I'm not always successful at seeing the comments as they come up when we do these Facebook Lives, which is why, let me see, let me just play with that. Can I do it that way? Maybe that's better. Oh, maybe that's better. Okay, we'll just go with that. We'll see. All right, we're just going to, oh yeah, no, I don't like that either, right? There's an option to expand it. Okay, we're playing around while we're figuring this all out. Okay. So, but I have it up on my phone, so at least I can see your comments for sure on my phone. I know sometimes there's a little bit of a delay of what you guys write and what I see, but we're just rolling with it, right? Okay, so I just have to address something else. I am wearing my glasses because I thought maybe I need to wear my glasses more often than my contacts, and the glare the light, I can see it. So now I'm really distracted just with my glasses. So, and I can't take them off or else I won't to see your comments. So I'm kind of stuck. Okay. Welcome to Chaos Tuesday. This is again, right? This is kind of where we go. This morning we're talking about branding. And I don't know if I'm on brand doing all this spiel right now or not, but oh well, it is what it is. So this morning I want to kind of follow up over the last, if you've noticed, the trainings over the last 4 or 5 weeks have kind of been following a flow, building on each other and really allowing you guys to break things down and structure and review your own business as we move forward. And we kind of did the audience, the branding, your messaging, the core values. And now we want to kind of move on to that branding piece, the visual. And this is a caveat, I am not a branding expert. I am not the one that you hire to come in and create your logo and choose all the colors. That's not my job. As a coach, and what I do with my clients and what I hope to help you with today is to give you the means to create a foundation that when you go to work with a branding expert, they're going to be asking you a lot of these similar questions. Okay? And so, pardon me. And you need to do a bit of research. You need to do a bit of work before you actually meet with a branding expert, or before you create a logo, before you choose your colors. You have to answer a slew of questions before they even start designing something for you. And that takes time. And some of my clients say it's overwhelming. Like, I'm being asked questions I never even thought about. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys a leg up that you've thought about this information. So when you do talk to somebody who is the branding expert, who is going to design your logo, or that you're ready, or if you choose to do your own and use something like Canva or Adobe Express, that you've thought about these things before you start diving in, so you start to know what you're looking for when you're looking for the imagery and choosing the colors. So that's what we're going to walk through today, right? We're going to walk through the colors, the fonts, and kind of that consistency through social media. And so with that, let's see, context, you guys are just going to bear with me, I apologize. So that's what we're going to kind of work through today. We're going to walk through these 3 steps. And then as we go through, if you've got questions, ask them. If you know your own logo, if you've already got a logo done, drop it in the comments if you've got a PNG of it or a JPEG. And if you know your colors, you can drop those too. You can just kind of tell us, right, as we go through. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. Remember, I don't like to be a talking head. Like, I'll sit here and talk and share what I have, but I love to be interactive. I love to have you guys kind of jump in and share and participate, right? That's how we learn, is that interactive piece. So for those that are new to the group, welcome. And, you get me as I am, right? This is how we roll. This is unscripted. Yes, I have my notes on the side to make sure I stay on task and I don't go blithering off into, wherever. But this is kind of what we're doing every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We pick a topic and we work on it and we work together on it. So my name is Karen Kleinwort, and those that are new, welcome. And I've been doing business coaching for almost 19 years now. I'm a holistic business coach, and what that means is, as a Reiki master teacher, a craniosacral therapist, and all of my years of experience in business and my degrees, I marry them together, and we take that mind, body, spirit to the next level with your business. I personally believe, it's been my philosophy for decades, that when we come upon a challenge or an obstacle, if we don't make the decision that is in our whole body's best interest, that we will keep coming back and revisiting it until we do. So if we want to make a decision with our business that's sustainable, that stands the test of time, then we need to make sure we're encompassing that whole mind, body, spirit into our decision making, while also using, right, our brains and that business structure on the bottom of it. That's kind of who I am. My goal with these workshops and for this group is to provide a safe space for you guys to come in, share, ask questions, lean in, and get the support that you're looking for. Okay? That's what our goal is with this group. So use us. Ask away as we move through. Good morning. Okay, Susan says, no logo yet. Colors are lime green, black, craft paper brown. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So, the objective today is to define and refine your brand's visuals. That's our goal. And you may not come away with finalized elements, but you'll have more information. You'll have more insight into yourself, into your business, and how you want that to be visually represented. Okay? So again, right, we're not replacing that brand expert who has the graphic design knowledge and all that experience. That's not what we're doing here, but we want to set you up for success so you can work with them successfully. Okay? So, because we need to remember, when we look at our visual, the brand visual, right? It needs to reflect the essence, the personality, and your values. So I don't know if you can see this picture behind me. Jean Ann says, I have a logo, trying to get it into comments. Okay. You can see the image above my head. So this is the icon for getsavvy. And the concept, the values, the principles that we base all of our decisions on, and our goal, community, empowerment, and accessibility. So our logo here, you can see, right? It's 4 people coming together. That's the community piece, right? Like, we are all one. So with that, those are also our colors, right? Teal with cream and then a navy blue. And so this was my little do-it-yourself. One weekend I went to our cottage and I hid out by myself and I got creative and used some artsy stuff, and I created that as a way to express myself, right? And I'm actually kind of proud of it. Anyways, so you're going to be able to see kind of that logo as we're walking through it, this training today. First thing, it's not about just looking good, right? It's about the representation. And so the first part is we're looking at colors. What are the colors that you want to choose? What are they going to do when they reflect your brand? right? So for us, we chose teal and a navy with cream. One, it's soft, and I wrote an article about this, and one of the things is you start with the colors that are your favorite. And ironically, my favorite color is red, but you don't see it anywhere within my brand. But then after doing some reflection, when I was a child, likely up until I was in my mid-20s, blue was my favorite color. So I'm now looking back and I'm realizing this isn't far off, because this is what my foundation is, right? So, so choosing colors, right? They're going to set the tone. They're going to set the mood. And you want to make that connection. You want it so when people see the colors, they're going to be like, oh, that's the brand that I recognize, that I'm drawn towards, right? So it's more of like this subconscious association. It's not like I like blue, so I'm going to only work with brands that use blue branding, right? Because we know, right, colors trigger emotions. And that's what we want to do. We want to like invoke this emotional response to people when they see your brand. So when we think about colors, there's a whole color psychology behind it. And I don't know, those that are in the clothing industry, they'll do, there's you can get your colors done, what colors look good on you and what reflects you, that kind of thing, right? It's kind of the same thing you're going to do with your brand. You want to know what colors are going to resonate with you and reflecting the values you have and what you're trying to think about and convey. So, right, when we think about red, blue, green, yellow, kind of like the three basic primary colors, and then we have green thrown in there, right? So red is normally associated with passion, right? And urgency, energy, right? It's kind of like that stop sign piece of it. So think of what brands do you know that use red, right? Coca-Cola and Target. Like Target's the bullseye, like full stop, right? Like when you see it, you know exactly who it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So blue, this is about trust, security, reliability. So when we think about blue, who are we thinking about? We're thinking about Facebook. Most banks will have a blue tone to their logo someplace, right? PayPal is another one. So when you're thinking about the trust and the security, that kind of plays hand in hand with PayPal and banks. So think about that, right? So we're looking at, for the getsavvy main brand is blue. We want to be reliable. We want to be trustworthy, right? We are a place that you can come and trust. So yellow, optimism, warmth, creativity. So who do you know that uses yellow in their brand? Who can you think of? Some people might say golden when you think of them, right? McDonald's, the golden arches. I don't know if that's aging me or not, right? But IKEA is another one. So with IKEA, absolutely, I see that creativity piece, right? Because when you think of IKEA, it's like you go in and your mind's racing of all the different pieces you can pull together, of the different furnishings and tables, and that really stands for that. Now, McDonald's, optimism, warmth, I guess, maybe that's what they're trying to convey, right? So, okay, so Jean isn't able to get it posted, but it's black and white. Okay. Perfect. So then green is growth, health, prosperity. It's also a healing color. So think of Starbucks, Whole Foods. Those are kind of two that come to mind that use green in their color scheme. Walmart is another blue. Myers is red. I'm trying to think of all the grocery brand stores around where I live, right? So black and white logos. What do you think of when you see a black and white logo? Like I think of, there's a nostalgia to it, right? There is something that kind of, for me, I kind of get taken back to a time when things are simpler, And you kind of, like, I kind of go, it'd be nice to kind of go back to those rotary dial phones where we don't have life in an instant in the palm of our hand, right? So when you start to think of colors, and here's a quick note with when you're choosing colors with your branding expert. When they start creating the actual logo, you want to make sure that your logo represents black and white as beautiful as it does in color. And the reason is when you go to reproduce it, either photocopy it or printing, or even on t-shirts or any type of merchandise, if it doesn't translate into a single color, so black and white, easily, like if there's a lot of shading, then the cost associated with the printing or creating the merchandise will go up. Most merchandise, it's, you got one color and then every additional color is extra money. So that's why you want to think about when you're choosing your color, that your logo is exactly how you want it to be presented in your basic colors as a standalone color. And what does it look like on a white backdrop or a black backdrop? Okay, so as you're choosing that color, those colors, you want to make sure that it can be translated. So Jean, are your colors black and white, or is it just that your logo is in black and white? And I'll wait for her to respond. But, right, so when we're thinking about that, right, so, because with black, there's also that sophistication, the luxury, exclusivity. You can think of Chanel or Rolex, use black, like a black and white logo. So that's why I was wondering, Jean, if yours was just black and white, or if you actually just happen to have a picture of it in black and white. But you want to make sure that it's representative of you, of who you are, right? So asking yourself, what is my brand? So, Susan, with your beads in your company, energetic and bold, calm and sophisticated, high-end exclusive, right? Okay, yeah, so Jean says her first logo has colors, but then she went black and white because she sells colors. Aha, interesting. Okay, awesome, I like that. Right, so when you're thinking, what colors that do you think of, if you say my brand is an energetic and bold brand, what colors come to mind? Something that's bright, a strong color, right? Calm and sophisticated, more on the soft, muted, like a neutral tone. High end, right? We were just talking about Chanel and Rolex being like those black and white. So high end and exclusive are going to use those rich, deeper tones. So gold, navy, and black are the three that normally come up when you think of those high end and exclusive brands. So I'm just watching the comments as I'm looking at my notes. So we want to remember when we're picking our colors, you're not going overboard, right? One primary, two supporting colors, and one neutral shade. So one of the things that we introduced with Get Savvy is we have our three, right? The navy and teal and the cream, but we've introduced a soft rose gold to bring in the feminine side of it as well. So whenever we do any type of social media marketing, our three colors are there, but if we need to add a fourth color, that's what we'll use, is we'll use that rose gold. So what do you think you would need to first ask yourself, right? We went through, asking yourself, where is it here? Is your brand energetic and bold? Are you calm and sophisticated, high-end and exclusive, right? So when you figure out what your brand is based on the energy behind it, that presence you want to have, right? Then you want to ask yourself, what are the three words? So pick up three words that are going to describe your brand. So if you were an energetic and bold brand, what three words would describe you? right? Because you want to figure out what your brand vibe is, right? That's what you're going to want to start to convey. So I'm not quite sure to where. Look, my camera's here, but I see the comments here. So you see me darting around, that's why, because I'm trying to figure out where everybody is. So that's what kind of the first step is, right? You're going to look at the color piece. And I always tell my clients, start with your favorite colors and then work out from there, right? Your branding expert that you work with, graphic designer, they'll have normally a document, a questionnaire, and it'll be quite thorough because it'll ask you all these different types of questions. And it's always going to start about you personally. So which is why, like that first piece of homework for us today, right, is saying, what are 3 words that describe my brand and my brand vibe? Because that's who you are. Because in the end, your brand is going to represent you, right? So once you know those 3 basic words, then you can start looking at what colors are associated with those. And are they part of that color scheme that really you enjoy yourself, right? So if I were to ask you guys right now, what would be your favorite color? What would it be? And do you see your favorite color in your logo? In what you create? Or no? I'm interested to see. So, now I think I'm getting my son's cold. He was sick for a week. I hope I'm not going to get it, but I can feel the congestion setting in. All right, so that's the first piece, right? Those colors. So then the fonts. And this is always a fun one because to me, like I love all the different fonts that are out there, but they're overwhelming. There are so many, like there are literally thousands of different fonts. And this is where I definitely am not the one to say, oh, this font really works well with this font. I don't have that trained graphic eye to know, right? So, but we know that the fonts really play a huge role because there's so many of those, you know, like the handwritten scripts that are beautiful, but when we use them, what we're trying to say, those words can get lost because they're hard to read. So we have to balance the beautiful of it, of your script and your font, with it being legible, right? Kind of like you don't want to have the doctor's chicken scratch be your font and nobody can read it. Yeah, so Jean says her favorite color has always been blue, but now it depends on the day, right? Yeah. So it's interesting how we're feeling really reflects the colors, right? It kind of shows up in really what we wear as well. So when we're looking at fonts, again, this is like, you don't want a lot of fonts. You need to kind of stick to 2 or 3, because if you use too many, then there's that inconsistency and people won't recognize it. Because again, this is about people being able to recognize your style, your color scheme, your imagery, because there'll be a pattern, there'll be something that is consistent and cohesive about it all. So Susan says her current favorite color is green. So choosing lime green lines up with that. One of my words is sassy. So the lime green helps me set me apart from it. Yeah, I like that, right? Sassy. Lime green is totally sassy. Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. So now so this becomes, this is another thing that this is not my domain, of course, but I always question, the color wheel. Like you say, like there's lime green, but like which shade of lime green? Like there's like all these hues and shades of them, right? So it's really kind of figuring out at what point on that wheel do you stop and say, this is it, this is the one, right? So like when we worked with a designer for our logo and they came up with these colors, I was blown away. I was like, oh, I would never have thought of that color teal. I like that. Okay, that's interesting. I would never have dawned on me to use. So that's what I love about these branding experts, because they can come from a completely different side of things and be able to present it in a way that you're like, oh, amazing. which, well, when we're doing it on our own, which you have so many opportunities out there now with Canva and Adobe Express, and there's more of them. Those are just the two that I use and I have off the top of my head, that make this process of creating a logo so much less stress, because you get to tinker around with the colors and the styles and the fonts until you find one that really resonates with you. So when you think of fonts, right, if it's not legible, then are people going to connect with you or not? Right? So when we choose a font, it's going to represent the professional level. How approachable are we? How bold are we? What kind of emotions is the font going to evoke, right? So when we're looking at that, the handwritten script fonts, I think of those handwritten notes, right? Kind of, again, being nostalgic. Your handwriting, it's that personalization. People feel compelled to be drawn to those, right? So how do you interact with that without it becoming unlegible? So there will be a point within that, right? So when we're looking at fonts, my experience has been that you're looking for no more than 2 or 3 fonts again, right? Like you're going to pick a primary font that is going to be for everything, basically, your brands, your headers, your logos. Good morning, Carmen, right? And that's the one that needs to reflect your personality, right? And then it's the complementary font is the body text. So it needs to be clean and readable. So when we go back to that chicken scratch, right, we want to make sure that that second font is the one that's super easy to read. And it's one of the reasons why, Arial has been the go-to font style for the default font in all your Google Docs and Word docs and things like that, right? Between time, I think it used to be Times Roman, and now that people lean more into Arial for that font. So what are the fonts that are clean but complement your first primary font, right? When you use more than 3 fonts, it really becomes inconsistent because people aren't going to immediately recognize it, right? And again, like there's all of these fonts out there that are, well, yeah, it can be overwhelming. But the Times Roman, no, was it Times New Roman? Oh my God, they always like rearrange the words. Like they don't sound like they're supposed to, right? So the serif fonts, Times New Roman. See, why is it not Roman New? Anyways, so Georgia is another one, right? Those are the classics. Then we're looking at the sans serif fonts. And don't ask me to define what sans serif means, with or without scripture, maybe, I don't know. But the sans serif is more of a clean, modern type of font style. So they give examples for those sans serif as the Arial, the Montserrat, and the Helvetica, right? Then there's the script fonts. Those are your dancing fonts and the ones that are the fun. They can be feminine, right? A lot of beauty brands will use those scripture fonts. And then you have the handwritten fonts. They're playful, unique. If you think of the fonts you guys use right now, where do they fall within kind of that classic Times New Roman all the way to the handwritten fonts? Like there's kind of like that scale. They go from super classic to the scrolly rolly ones. Like where do you find your eyes drawn when you're looking at choosing fonts to create content with, especially your social media content? So like modern companies will use much more of a bold, cleaner font. So like those sans serif, so less scripty. A luxury brand will be like a classic script type font. And then the playful brands, the younger brands, tend to use those more handwritten type fun fonts. And again, there's all these different websites that you can go to for font styles. I think it's 100 fonts maybe. I'll have to look and see if I can find it. And you can literally scroll through all of these different fonts and find one that you like. So homework, right? So the first section we talked about colors, and your homework with that was looking at what are your 3 words that describe your personality for your brand. Now the next one is you want to identify one primary font that you are drawn to, that represents your brand personality. Let me see, actually. Let me just quickly see if I can pull up, I think, 100 fonts. Oh, it's 1001 fonts. Okay. 1001 font. Okay, let me put it in the comments, see if I can do this. 1001 fonts.com. Actually, come on. I'm waiting to see the posts. Let's see. Is it going to? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. There's a link. We'll see if it comes up or not. But that's a good starting place. So one of those websites will be really good for you guys to kind of research. Sorry, I'm trying to research while we're on the fly here. Right? So think of one primary font that really you feel represents who your brand personality is. All right, on to the third piece, right? Colors and font styles. The third one is really that design element to bring it all together to make it cohesive. So when we're looking at, oh, did it work? Oh, see, it's posting. I don't know. You guys have to tell me if that link works or if I have to, let me try different. I might have to put the www in. Sometimes it works with them and sometimes it works without them. We'll see. But, right, so we're looking at your logo variations. So you guys have to just tell me if those links actually will work for you. Somebody might have to test them for me. Oh, it worked for you. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Susan. Right, so we're looking at the logo variations. So when I was saying about, the Get Savvy icon behind us, right? So we have the main version, which is this icon part with the word Get Savvy underneath it. That's our whole logo. But our submark, right, the favicon brand mark is that. So what does that mean? It means you want to have some flexibility where it's still consistent, where it doesn't have to have your name in the logo and people will still recognize it. I'm waiting for the text to catch up with me here. Yeah, and just so you know, when you go to that 1001fonts.com site, you will go down a rabbit hole. Just be prepared. Make sure you have a fresh cup of coffee or a cup of tea with you. You will go down a rabbit hole. Right? So thinking about your actual logo for your company, for your business, for your product or your service, right? You want it to make sure that the primary version, so ours has the words at the bottom, this becomes our submark, so we can use it for smaller spaces, so we can use it in our profile pictures, and it kind of still is standalone, right? So we want to make sure that people can start to recognize it, that they can be, right? So we can just use the word, the Get Savvy part of the brand icon as a standalone as well, and it's still representative, right? So they work together or apart, and then we can break them down and use them as we need them. So when you think about your logo, you want to think about all the different ways and places that you're going to be putting it. Okay? That's one of the things you always want to be thinking about. And when you're working with a branding expert, they're going to have either in their own worksheet with you or on their own checklist they're going to have like, okay, so are the logos we're creating for this person and this business, will it work in all the different social media platforms? Will it work on a website? Will it work on merchandise? Like all the different elements, because that's part of their job, right? To make sure that the variation of your logo will work. But you as the business owner need to think about, what does that visual mean? What does the visual that you want to represent your brand? So do you want texture? Is there gradients? Do you want it to be a custom icon where nobody else has it, right? So like ours is a custom icon. Or do you want to use something, I think of veterinarian clinics, right? Most of them will have what? The dog, a cat, a horse, some like a mouse, something representative of animals in it, right? So it's okay if it's not a custom icon. You're going to customize it based on your colors and fonts and how you use it anyways. And when you're thinking about your icon, that logo, how do you want the image to be presented? Do you want it to be like bright and energetic? Or is it going to be more soft and natural or neutral? Do you want it clean, so minimal layouts? Or do you want a really heavy graphic design pieces to it? And this is why when we go back to that first segment that we did, choosing the words and what your profile, what your brand is going to, what energy level, this is why. Because when you start looking at the design of your logo, you're going to want to know which direction you want to go in, right? So, and honestly, when you work with somebody, they'll walk you through it. They'll have you answer a whole bunch of questions, and just the sheer basis of your responses, they'll know exactly which direction they're going to take your logo design in. So as we're putting all this together, you want to think about how it's presented to the public. So how are you being consistent with your social media? So knowing, right, Susan, she shared hers was a lime green, and Ann was saying black. She had blue, but she changed it to black, right? Yes. So how consistently is that showing up? How are you using those colors in your marketing materials, on your website, in your products, in your services, when you start to create any type of product material for it, or sales material, right? If you're thinking flyers or banners or posters or anything like that, right? How does that show up? And is it consistent on your website and with social media and even inside your emails? Are you using those branding colors and imagery inside your emails? So for example, so our fonts, right, our base font is that Montserrat. So with that, it's not one within our CRM that's available. So we had to choose a different font to use in our email body. And with that, we had to just kind of say, okay, what's the closest, what's clean, classic, and readable, that people aren't going to have to struggle to read. And so we chose that. I think we chose Helvetica. So with that, we're consistent with that in our emails. We don't use it anywhere else, but we're consistent in our email body with that, right? So that's where when you start saying 2 or 3 fonts, for us, that third font is only in the email body, right? And one of the things that some graphic designer and branding experts will do is they'll create a template. So if you want a standard email template where you use it all the time, then they can create that for you. So it incorporates all of your colors and the branding elements to it. So the other thing is they can do is create templates within Canva for you. So you can self-create your social media posts and captions and all the other things that go along with it and still be on brand. So with that, right, so we're looking at the colors and the fonts and just this cohesive pulling it together with the logo and that representation. if you were to quickly right now, not that you'd have to go there, but if you think about your current online presence, so if you website, social media platforms, email marketing, do you feel that you are presenting a cohesive visual across the board? What do you guys say? I'm waiting for you guys to respond. All right. So we'll see as you guys come up, right? So, and this is part of what the group is really good for. I don't know if you noticed earlier, so Jean Ann said she's going to have to check, but she thinks most are the same. Excellent. Okay. So one of the members posted their website earlier this week and asked us for feedback, right? And that's a really great use of the Facebook group, is really, like kind of saying, this is my brand, or this is my visual, or this is what I'm thinking about. Does it convey, like if you were to see this, does it convey to you what I want it to convey, right? And so you can, solicit that feedback. So Susan says her website does definitely not use my brand color or font. So got to work on that for sure. Yes. And so this is where, when we were talking about the color, right, that whole color wheel, and you're looking at that lime green, Susan, it's also, how does that show up for the end user? So if I were to see the lime green on my computer or on my phone, how am I going to receive that? So lime green may not be a great color for the font because it might be really hard to read. So that's part of what you want to think about too when you start looking at your font colors. Okay. In your branding materials. So that's what I got for you guys today, right? You want to make sure you're picking colors that are reflective of your brand. So you want to kind of look at the color psychology based on your favorite colors and the words that really describe who you are and who your brand is and what colors are associated with that. And then looking at how do you choose the fonts that really, amplify and speak your brand to people. Remember, 2 fonts, no more than 3, because you want it to be cohesive. And because that's the last piece, right? If you're cohesive, if you're consistent, people are going to remember your brand. And that's the key, right? You want that brand recognition. We all want that immediate, what I just did there, right? The Nike swoop. Everybody goes after that Nike swoop concept. Nike doesn't have to do anything but to put that swoop out there, and everybody in the world knows exactly who that brand is, right? So, and that's kind of the epitome. That is exactly, the place that everybody wants to get to with their brand. Now, we're not all that successful, and that's okay, because Nike's, I can't even imagine how much money they've put into the brand. But, yeah, so that's where we're at. Helpful? Do you guys have any other questions around any of this? I am going to put together, I started working on a workbook that'll just have some checklists around your branding and to kind of reinforce, to get you ready to work with somebody or to allow you to really dive into using those self-serving Canva and Adobe Essentials, or what was the other one I said? I can't remember now. But the Adobe programs or Canva. Let me see. So, and when I have that workbook done, I'll drop it in the group as well. Okay. Excellent. So next Tuesday, I have not done any posting or publication about it. I just simply forgot, honestly, until today. But, oh, you're welcome. I'm so happy. Thank you, Susan. But next Tuesday afternoon, I think 3 o'clock, we are going to be doing a workshop on your sales script and the retention strategy. So we had done trainings, I think 3 and 4 weeks ago, on doing your sales script and the retention strategy for the post sale. And I was asked if we could do a workshop on it. So I've created one, and I need to start sharing it with you guys, or else you guys won't know about it. So my goal is by the end of today, you guys will have a place where you can register for the workshop. It'll be 2 hours from 3 to 5 Eastern. Right now, that's the timing that I've picked. I'm going to kind of put some feelers out to see what you guys think, and I'm always open if we need to adjust it, we can. But right now, that's what we're going to go for, is next Tuesday, the 18th, from 3 to 5. And we're going to work on doing your sales script and your retention strategy. So that way you kind of can speak with confidence and really help with that conversion, whether it be in writing and or speaking. Okay, I think that's it. Think we did it. All right. Any last minute questions? Anything else I can help you guys with? I'm just going to give a minute. Let's see. See, this is the thing. Like, I'm looking up here. Okay, you're welcome, Jean. All right. So, all right. See, I think maybe I need to just watch comments on my computer the next time, because that's way faster than my phone. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. I will post that information about the workshop today, and I will get that workbook done likely by the end of tomorrow. I'll have the workbook done, and I'll post that in the group for you guys to grab as well. If you guys have anything else, lean in. We're here to support you. I appreciate you all being here, and you guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you all next Tuesday morning for sure. Okay, bye guys.